This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 4 of The Secret Lives of Nutrients. In today's episode, titled The Surprising Role of Vitamin D Beyond Bones, we're going to uncover the fascinating ways vitamin D impacts our health beyond just supporting our skeletons. From immune function to mood regulation, there's so much more to this essential nutrient than you might think. So, let's dive in. Right now, most of your vitamin D isn't coming from your food. It's being quietly manufactured in your skin whenever light hits it. Yet this so-called bone vitamin is busy tinkering with your immune system, your mood, and even which genes get switched on today. Here's the twist. Your blood test for vitamin D isn't really measuring vitamin D at all. It's measuring 25-hydroxyvitamin D, a storage form that acts more like a running balance in your health account than a snapshot of what you ate or how long you were in the sun yesterday. That balance quietly drifts up or down over weeks, not hours, which is why one sunny weekend or a single high-dose supplement won't magically fix a long-standing deficit. And while bone health was the first thing scientists noticed collapsing when that balance ran low, they're now tracking how subtle shifts in this level seem to parallel who shrugs off infections, whose energy slumps in winter, and who responds better to certain treatments. The story here isn't about an occasional pill. It's about the long game of keeping that balance in a healthy, steady range. That long game is shaped by more than a supplement bottle. Skin tone, latitude, season, time of day, clothing, sunscreen, age, gut health, liver and kidney function, even certain medications can all nudge that running balance up or down. Two people standing in the same midday sun can walk away with very different deposits. And because most foods contribute only a small trickle, habits, how often you're outdoors, whether you work nights, if you cover up for cultural or medical reasons, start to matter. Over months, those quiet patterns can be the difference between barely getting by and having real reserves. Here's where vitamin D starts to look less like a simple nutrient and more like a quiet coordinator across your body. Once your skin or diet supplies it, the raw material is passed through your liver and kidneys, step by step, into calcitriol, the active form that can actually speak to your cells. Not every tissue gets the same volume of that message. Some cells, like those in the gut and bone, are set up to respond strongly. Others keep their response more muted. That's one reason two people with the same blood level can still feel different. Their cells aren't all tuned to the same sensitivity. Calcitriol docks onto vitamin D receptors sprinkled through organs you wouldn't intuitively link to a bone vitamin. The brain, pancreas, heart, fat tissue, even skin and reproductive organs. In many of these places, it influences how other signals are heard. Insulin's message in the pancreas, inflammatory cues in blood vessels, growth and repair instructions almost everywhere. Instead of acting like a loud soloist, it's more like the sound engineer that quietly adjusts which signals get amplified or damped. You can see this in how vitamin D interacts with blood sugar. Pancreatic beta cells carry vitamin D receptors and the machinery to make local calcitriol. When supplies are adequate, those cells seem to handle glucose swings more gracefully and resist some of the stress that pushes them toward burnout. In muscle, vitamin D helps maintain the machinery needed for contraction and balance, which may be why deficiency is tied to more falls and weaker grip strength in older adults. Its reach extends into body weight and cardiovascular health too. Fat cells express vitamin D receptors, and low levels are consistently linked with higher waistlines and more visceral fat, though cause and effect are still being untangled. In blood vessels and the heart, vitamin D appears to help keep the lining smoother and less reactive, and influences the renin-angiotensin system that governs blood pressure. People with levels in that 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter window tend, on average, to show slightly better blood pressure control and lipid profiles. None of this makes vitamin D a magic fix. Instead, it's more like a baseline requirement that lets other carefully tuned systems, metabolic, muscular, cardiovascular, operate closer to how they were designed, especially under stress. When researchers followed people through flu seasons, autoimmune flares, and even recovery after major surgery, a theme kept popping up. Those whose levels sat in that 30 to 50 nanograms per ml band generally rode out stresses with fewer complications and shorter hospital stays. In respiratory infections, for instance, several trials have found that regular, modest vitamin D3, not giant bolus doses, was linked to fewer severe cases, especially in those who started out low. Mood studies add another layer. In some trials, people with winter blues responded better when their levels were nudged into that middle zone, particularly if they weren't also deficient in sleep or omega-3 fats. One technology-flavored way to picture it: a phone with enough battery doesn't make you a better photographer, but it lets every app run without crashing under load. Likewise, adequate vitamin D won't replace exercise, nutrition, or therapy, yet it often determines how well those apps can perform when life gets demanding. If this quiet coordinator really shapes so many systems, the next decade may feel like a software update for healthcare. Clinics could pair routine blood work with VDR genotyping, then tune dose the way a mechanic tunes an engine. Different settings for night shift workers, darker skin tones, or people in polluted cities. Public health teams may lean harder on fortified foods, while psychiatrists and infectious disease experts test whether keeping patients in the mid-range shifts outcomes at scale. So the real experiment isn't take a pill, fix a problem, but tune one small signal and watch the ripple. As studies link this hormone-like actor to sleep quality, exercise recovery, and even how sore you feel after a hard week, it becomes less of a side note and more of a quiet setting in the background that can tilt daily life toward fragile or resilient. Start with this tiny habit. When you first sit down with your morning drink, glance at the clock and step outside or to a sunny window for just 60 seconds with your forearms exposed. While you're there, say out loud, "This is my vitamin D minute," to lock in the ritual. If it's dark or overcast, simply open your weather app and check the UV index. If it's 3 or higher later in the day, tap a reminder on your phone to repeat your 60-second sunlight check-in then. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!